Hey there, it's Dr. Yam, your Keep It Simple coach, and it's another Biz Tip Tuesday inside content creation tips and more, and my Facebook page. Let's get busy. Hey there, everyone. This is Dr. Yam, your Keep It Simple coach inside Biz Content Creation Tips and More Facebook group, as well as on my Facebook page, Keep It Simple Coach. How is everyone doing today? It is another Biz Tip Tuesday, and on Biz Tip Tuesdays is where I share with you insights and information that are centered around our content marketing strategies in our content marketing ecosystem. And that is what we are centered around today. We are going to be still in our theme on email marketing. So we're going to continue with that series. For those of you, if you haven't already done so, please know that you can stay in touch with me inside of LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Any of those, just come on in and follow me and leave emoji love at the same time. All right, so today we're going to answer a really cool question. One of the things you probably haven't even tried yet, and it's okay. That's why I'm here to give you more information and insight so you can give it a go. And so today we're going to talk about A/B testing, the basics, to improve your email marketing. So this is a method, a strategy that you can apply right away, and it's going to save you some money. And I always know that that's critical and important to every one of you at the same time. So let's talk a bit about one, what it is and why is it important. So the thing is no matter how much research you do, not every marketing campaign is going to give you positive results. And that's why A B testing is a really great way for you to kind of calculate the best way to promote or market a strategy for your business. And it can be used to test not only inside of email, you can do it on your website copy, you can do it on pop-ups, you can do it on Facebook ads or any of the ad campaigns themselves. You have an ability to do what we call A/B testing. And basically what it allows you to do is to find the best performing versions of your campaign or that content before you spend a whole lot of money on a budget for that marketing material that you may not even know if it works or not, right? So this is kind of like a beta test in some places we would call it. But while A/B testing can be a bit more time consuming, it does yield itself to saving you money. So you have to, it's a trade-off between a time investment and money. Which one would you rather put basically take a risk on, for lack of a better term? Now, excuse me. The advantages of a really well planned, which we'll talk about, A/B test, is that it can make a really huge difference in the effectiveness of how you are going about your marketing campaigns inside. We're going to speak specifically to email marketing, but do know that a lot of what I'm sharing with you today can apply to a lot of other content marketing methods when we speak about your website, your social media, as well as inside of your email automation as well, making it a stronger way. And basically, again, save you some money. So basically, A/B testing is simply a marketing strategy, okay, that basically says, I'm going to take two versions of an email campaign or a pop-up or website and put them against each other to see which one is the most effective. So let's take an example. Let's say, for instance, you have two different pop-ups. And when I mean pop-ups, the little pop-ups that come up on the screen when somebody visits your site, and it's to maybe to have them to sign up for your newsletter or an offer that you have. And so you're going to have two versions that are giving of the same purpose. And then you're going to provide some insight as to where and how that information that you budgeted for is going to give you some feedback on that particular set of information. So over time, when you do this, You get to take incremental steps in how you are investing what you think is working and doesn't work within the constructs of your audience that you are already serving. Now, this still works well even if you're doing ads to a cold audience. It still would work because, again, people who don't know you and you're putting out ads, they too can give you some really good feedback as well. So, how do you do A/B testing? Inside of your email automation system, you are going to choose what do you want to test out. In email, typically, it's going to be things like your subject line. Another one can be, let me make sure I get my list right. Yeah. So one could be your header or your subject line. And in that case, when you're testing it to a same group, you're splitting that email group in half. So last week we talked about segmentation. And in a sense, what you could do is you could take your full group or segmented group and send, because of the intent of the email, but you can send an email campaign to a group of people, but you're going to send version A to one half, random, and version B of that same campaign to the other half. These are randomly selected half. You just said, I'm going to do um, A to Z, Z to A, just to even number the first 100. However you want to divide up the group, you just divide them up as a random sample. Right? And then you're going, so you can test the subject lines, you can test the call to actions inside the email, those buttons to see who reacted and who didn't react inside of those two subgroups. You may choose also maybe to lay it out a little differently. Sometimes it's just about the eye candy and how things rest and are easier to absorb in the information that you're laying out. Same content, but how they're laid out may also play a part in how well people are responding to the content of your email. And then, of course, personalizing is another strategy. Personalize one versus not personalizing another and see what type of response you get, again, to the reaction inside of the content. Of course, the body of the text could certainly be another method and way of seeing how much information, maybe a short version versus a long version. I typically do that when I'm running ads. You do a short version versus a long version to see which one's getting more traffic, more attention, more clicks, those types of things, so you can test that in that type of an A/B situation. Your closing text is another. Images could be another. And again, A/B testing applies to, again, content. Even in an ad campaign, you can have two different ad creatives, just maybe the same total images, but the background colors are different. And again, how do people react? Okay, give me 1 second. All right. So each of those are likely to have an effect on different parts of the conversion process. One is if you're looking at your subject line, then just the mere fact of who opened up the email versus those that didn't open them up. For that same body, everything else is the same, but the subject line might have been a difference. And you can get a sense for the behavior of people who opened up A version versus who opened up the B version and how much more in those numbers. And so you're just really looking at the numbers from that standpoint. If the subject lines are the same, then of course, then you're dealing in how many times did a person click or move and maybe read through it, depending on what's the word? Some of them are a little bit more sophisticated systems. You're able to do that as well. So you have that. So you want to just kind of think about what you want to test and then narrow it down. Keep it real simple at first. And these are just strategies for you to kind of try that also help to determine how best to serve your customers at the same time. Because most of the people on your list should be people who are part of your target audience, who are on your list because of what you do and what you're able to solve a problem around and why they gave you their email in the first place. If you have a lot of heavy emails that were from some type of promotion that really isn't relevant to who you are and what you do, then you got some dead weight, and that's going to harm the data with respect to that. So be mindful of just that. So you also want to decide, once you determine what you want to test, you also want to decide, what do you define as being a successful assessment of that test? Do you want to say, is it around maybe the open rates? Maybe it's around the number of clicks. If it's about a conversion and somebody actually bought, then maybe it's a percentage of conversion. Maybe 10% will be considered really good for you at that point in time because maybe it's a new product or a new offer. So you can, and then kind of go in increments as you keep continuing to test. Now, the great thing about A/B testing is all of the email automation systems that are out there all offer an ability for you to do that. It's just a matter of you choosing A/B testing in your setups when you go and there's a part of setting up your actual campaigns. So I'm not going to go into details for how to do the actual setups. I will cover that in a different context, either inside of a newsletter, a memo, or inside of a separate video training in and of itself. But just know that A/B testing a campaign is pretty easy for you to set up and do. But once you kind of keep in mind of the why you want to do it, how you want to do it, meaning what do you want to be testing? And you have all the different opportunities, as I earlier mentioned. And then now choosing the tool, which in most cases should be one of your email automation systems for your email campaigns. Now, also know that you can test not only a broadcast email, I mean, the one that just kind of goes out once, and you have the ability of going to testing out a whole email sequence as A/B testing as well and splitting that up, particularly if it's like a promotion or an offer and you kind of want to see which group of people, which one is yielding the most data as far as a successor, so that you can then continue to use that, run that campaign again when the time comes, and you go with the one that was the most successful. Now, the other thing too to keep in mind is that when you're doing A/B testing, is also an opportunity from you to take the best of both and then create and refine the campaign that you would actually use in the second version of it. So don't just poo-poo the data that may not have been as valuable in one of the versions. You may find that there was some good information that came out of one portion of it. You want to take that into the version 2, and then maybe out of A there was something, and out of B there was something that really worked well. You can combine those pieces of successful components and then craft a new version 2.0 of it, and then be able to run it by itself or run another 2 versions of it and do another A/B testing again, depending on how you want to run it. That also means that you can you can kind of break down and do beta testing to your group and just make smaller groups so that you can do maybe A/B test group 1 and then run it, do some tests, look at your data, make some decisions, make a refinement of it, and then take another half of that same group of your list and then run it again with the refined pieces and parts, and then see how well those helped in making the creation of the content of those email sequences or broadcasts for that matter, makes that even better. And if it yielded you a better result of data, and then you can take it from there. Okay, hold on one second. Even better if it yielded you a better result of data, and then you can take it from there. Sorry. Okay, hold on one second. So that, my friends, are the basics when it comes to A/B testing. It's not hard to do. You can certainly do this yourselves. Hold on a sec. Got some comments. Good morning. Sure, ask any questions that you have here in the group. No worries there. And again, the details you can find are real simple inside of each one of the email automation systems. There's usually a how-to. Just type in A/B testing inside of your search for how-tos, or in your help section, and in any of the platforms, they all have an ability to set it up. It's not a hard setup. Your real work is on making a decision. And this decision is really centered around how you plan to do those tests. So again, do you want to test headlines? Do you want to test a call to action? Do you want to test a pop-up? Do you want to test a picture? Do you want to test the written copy? Do you want to test maybe how a form field, one may have 3 fields, the other one may have 2. Did you get more reaction with the one that had 3 than with 2? So there's different ways to do that. And then you want to have kind of almost like a little checklist when you're testing. You want to just make sure that you've covered all the bases, decide what feature you want to test. You want to then create two versions of that same ad or that same landing page or that same email. You want to decide how long you want to run the test. So again, if it's one broadcast, then obviously you're running it one time. But if you break down your groups into smaller groups, then you can run that same email to each of the smaller groups segments maybe three times and be able to get some good information. So you're not sending it out three times to the same people. You're going to take 100 people. Let's say you had 90 people on the list. You're going to do group A is going to have 30, another third, and another third. You're going to run that A/B test, split them up, and run A/B tests a third and third. So you can run it three times. So decide on the version and then how long you want to run it. Like I just mentioned, if it's a sequencing, same thing's going to apply. And then choose the tool of choice and then just go for it and test it. You're not going to hurt it, but do it with some intentionality. Like the content should be of value. Just don't test to be tested. Like, hey, I'm testing. No, 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 no. You never want to do that. But do go through an approach so that you can get the information and take away data so that you can make informed decisions before you start spending a lot of money. Because now that you've tested it, then you can take it for a ride and invest in the ad campaign if you're using it as a marketing ad and those types of things. And then try it again in a couple weeks if you want to. Rinse and repeat, as we like to call it. So that, my friends, is what A/B testing is all about and how you can use this as a marketing strategy to help you in working in improving how you are servicing your customers on your list. That today is what Biz Tip Tuesday is all about. Please don't hesitate to give me a call or contact me either here on my website, keepitsimplecoach.info, inside Content Creation Tips and More Facebook group, where new solopreneurs, freelancers, and coaches use and apply content marketing methods that are a part of our content ecosystem, and do that inside of smallbizsociety.com is the website that you can just type in right here, and then you can join us any day, anytime. And again, thank you for joining another Biz Tip Tuesday. This is Dr. Yam, your Keep It Simple coach. Let's get busy. Take care. Bye. Hold on. Hold on one second.